Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad that you're able to connect with us. I'm just going to take a moment as everyone starts to find their way here. I'm going to take a moment just to make sure everything's working well. It's a beautiful, beautiful day to be alive. There are so many things. I'm going to turn myself down. I see that things are coming through on Facebook. And please take a moment and share this with some family, some friends, some coworkers, people that you know. We do a Tuesday night gathering this time just for you. I'm gonna film anyways. I'm gonna talk anyways. I'm gonna have content anyways because of all the other projects that I have. And this is a place for me to digest and dialogue and communicate and bring out some of the thoughts that I am working on, some of the things that I'm dealing with right here. And I do that right here live with you. So I'm so glad that you tune in and you connect with us. Please comment and share and communicate as we get into this. Let me know before I get started on the teaching. Let me know if there's anything that's challenging with the feed. I don't know how long we're going to be. I don't think we're going to be very long. We could be. I have a lot of content that I've been digesting. I research and digest. And it always comes from a thought. It comes from a question that I have or an impression that I get. And so I chase it down and then I go after it. So let me know. Hey, Dave, I see you. Let me also know where you're watching from. I see you, Carolyn. See you, Shannon. Let me know where you're watching from. If you are, from the United States, let us know. If you're outside of the United States, if you're watching in the United States, also let us know where you're watching from. And today we're going to be dealing with coping automations, and we've heard of coping automations before, coping mechanisms, coping skills. Coping is an interesting subject. It's something that we think we know, but we don't really know unless you ask the question, what is it? And so that's what I did. I dialed in and I said, what is coping? What is it all about? And we're gonna dig into that. And we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna take you on a little bit of a rabbit trail for a second, just for the sake of leading up to the concepts and leading up to the very practical. But I always want to give you the psychology of something before I give you the skills. Most people want the skills, and if you have the skills without the psychology behind it, without the why and the understanding of it, then you often don't use the skills. So I want to encourage you to use the skills. But before you do that, you have to know why you need the skills. You have to understand the coping, the mechanism of it, and you have to understand where it comes from and all of that. So, hey, there's Bellevue. We see Renton. Good to see you, Jackie. Issaquah, Jessica, good to see you. Pastor Nick, good to see you. I hear that Dave's there somewhere. Cheryl, thanks for watching. And Sabrina, Sumner, bring that Sumner in the house. Des Moines is here in the house. So glad that you guys are here. Continue to share. Really appreciate you sharing and getting this out. As you notice, I'm not keeping up the video for very long. Last week I pulled last week's off in 24 hours. I put it in a program that I'm offering. I did the last two emotional intelligence. I pulled those off and I put those into a program that's being connected with the experimentalist. So if you go to the experimentalist.com book, experimentalistbook.com. If you go there, you'll see that amongst the things that I'm giving with that just order of a book, you're getting that for free. And I might actually throw this coping one in there, see how it comes along, how it goes. But we're going to just jump right in because I don't want to spend all your night talking about coping and emotional mechanisms to handle life. And I want to start off by telling you this story. It's just a really intense story that I've been researching, and his name is Captain Jerry Coffey. And Captain Jerry Coffey he was a prisoner of war, and he was shot down as he was on a reconnaissance tour with some other pilots, and they were shot down, and he was shot down. He was shot down in captive for over 2,000 days. It actually, exact numbers, 2,564 days. He was captured in the Vietnam, and he was in the communist prison camp in the North Vietnam. And the way he describes it is very intense. That he's flying reconnaissance. He knows that he's now being chased. I think they call it a dogfight. And so they shot him down. As he was going down, he ejected from his seat. And he says the ejection from the seat is 600 at that time. I'm not sure if it's the same PSI level, but it's probably more so. But he was shot from his plane at 680 miles an hour. 680 miles an hour. Can you imagine what that does to your body? So he's ejected from the plane, and he says in that ejection, in coming back down to the earth, he breaks body parts, he punctures parts of his lungs, he dislocates things, and he gets literally just damaged from trying to escape a wreck. And so they take him and they are marching him through some of the cities, and he's going through the cities. The soldiers just allow the people that are there in the cities just to abuse them as they're going. And this is all getting to the camp. This is all getting to the place where he's going to be held for the next 7 years and 9 days. Exactly 7 years and 9 days. He goes there. And as he arrives in the camp, there's abuse that just to set him up in abuse. And he asked this question as he's there, and he said this. He said things were really tough when he got there. He didn't know how it was gonna work for him. But as he got there and he started going through all the challenge, and he started to kind of get his equilibrium and starting to get settled in, he realized that he needed to make a decision. And he said this was the decision that I made. I needed to make a decision. Instead of saying, God, why me? I asked the question, God, show me. And I think that was the first stage, the first step of him coping with such a dramatic thing. He's not going home for a while. He knows that. And realization, a lot of people that went into this camp did not go home. He watched people that came in with him did not make it. His co-pilot that was with him did not make it. There was others that just did not make it. And he knew the reality is that he may not make it. So what does he need to do? He needs to figure out how to cope with this circumstance. Now, a lot of us aren't in that circumstance where we can't really compare what we're going through with what's happening in a war, what's happening with being a prisoner of war. But we can say, I am also dealing with things that maybe my nervous system is not ready for. I'm not ready for emotionally, mentally. I'm not ready for physically. And you have to ask this question. Instead of why me, you have to say, show me. I thought that was just a great perspective just to start. Not why me, but show me. Show me what to do. Show me how to handle this. Show me. And so when you ask that question, you establish that question, you start to think and you start to look differently. He asked that question. It changed his perspective. He went from why me, which is a victim's mindset, to show me, to an active participant in the process. Someone that's going to learn. That small mind shift, that small mental shift will actually transform your thinking. So you have to show me. And so he's expecting that in this thing, he's gonna learn something. And then he said, I prayed to God. He said, I prayed to God, and this is what he said in his prayer. He said, God, show me how I can go home, how I can make the best of this, and how I can become a better husband, how I can become a better American, how I can become a better father. Show me how I can leave this place better. That's important, that you realize that this moment is now to make me something. So if you go from why me to show me, then you realize the point of this moment is to make me a better person. So he says, show me how I can leave, help me use it so that when I go home, I am a better and stronger person. So when you're in a circumstance, some of you are in challenges right now with your job, or maybe physical or emotional. Your challenges with your family, and you can literally stay in that challenge and go, why me? Or you can look at that challenge and go, show me. Show me what am I going to learn? What do I need to learn to become a better person? Show me what I need to know and what I need to learn to become a better father, to become a better person, to become a better American. This is what he wanted. He wanted to, if I have to go through this, I have to go through it. I don't want to go through it as someone who is going to suffer in it, but I want to go through it as someone who is going to learn from it, and it's not going to break me. The moment you realize you're coming out better is the moment you realize it can't break you. You're not going to allow it to break you. You're not going to allow it to challenge you or destroy you. It's going to challenge you, but to take away from you. It's got to add to you. And when you go from why me to show me, you're making that circumstance add to you. Don't allow anything to take from you. Don't allow any of this that's happening in the world right now to take from you. So many people are going, it's not going to be the same, not going to be the same. I want you to understand it's not going to be the same, not because it's taken from me, but because it's adding to me. I am becoming a better husband, a better father. a better coach, a better pastor, a better leader. I'm becoming a better man and a better person because of what we're walking through right now. And that's because I've made a decision, not why me, but show me. And why me is an easy place to go. You don't need any training to go to why me. You don't need anything but, yes, just I look at the circumstances. It's easy to say why me. You can have good things going on in your life and still go, why me? So you have to understand why me is not the right perspective, but show me. Show me what I need to learn. Because I'm coming out of this as a better person. The other thing that I have 4 things that I'm going to share with you that are a part of this, but I want to share the 4 things he did, that he said he did in order to be able to manage himself, cope, manage himself in the circumstance, manage himself in this time. And so you and I cannot manage someone else. And someone else cannot manage us. And even though someone else may be able to say, well, you can go in the work, or you can't go in the work, or you may be able to do this, or you can't do this, still they're not the one that can manage you. They can't manage your emotions. They can't manage your physical output and your physical intake. They can't manage you. So you have to manage you, and part of this coping is managing you, managing your emotions. I'm just keep looking because I want to make sure that everything's flowing well here. And keep your comments, keep your communication coming. I love to see the communication as we're going. So I want you to know you have to manage you. And you have to manage you. If you're going to become better, it's because you managed yourself well. If you become worse, it's because you've managed yourself poorly. And if you want to be excellent, outstanding, you have to manage yourself with excellence, outstanding, or even greater, even above. So based upon how you manage you will determine what the output is that you'll get from this circumstance, whatever circumstances that you're coping with. So remember, he's broken in his body. He's emotionally, physically, mentally damaged. He's now being beat up and abused by just the locals there, not people in the military, just the locals. They bring him out and let people abuse them. They take them, to the military camp, and they have specific things that they're limited in what they need to do. And they can't talk. If they talk, they get punished. They can't have any communication. There's a lot of problems. So they've actually, in this, it's a great story. It's a great story. If you can find it, you can get his book. You need to read his book because he goes into details of the language that they created. They created a knocking, it's not a Morse code, but a code, a knocking and a coughing and a sneezing code to communicate to one another because they needed to keep each other encouraged and built up. So this was all coping. It's not the same, but it's ability to handle and manage this in a way that I'm benefiting from it, that I'm not being broken, that I'm not being destroyed, but I'm actually going to continue to win. You will develop your language, you'll develop what you do daily, you'll develop your eating, you'll develop your speaking, you'll develop the people that are around you, and you'll develop with them, and you'll develop something that's completely different than what you did before. And realization, if you really think about the way you were before, it was also a response to another thing, a response to a limitation, a response to an abundance, a response. We live from one opportunity to another opportunity, one moment to another moment. And depending on how we handle those moments will depend on how we live the rest of our lives. We will have another shift. There'll be another adjustment. There'll be a financial adjustment, emotional adjustment, physical adjustment, because that's what life is. It's a series of opportunities to grow, series of opportunities to become better. And so when you realize, not why me, but show me. And I know it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy in life. I'm not saying that I'm the guy that knows that you don't need to have an emotional flip and breakdown. I have had, and I understand what those are about. But the realization is we need to learn from every time we flip out, every time we trip, every time we do something. We need to learn from it because we're growing from a why me to a show me. And hopefully this is encouraging because this person, he's there for 7 years. He knows he's there. He doesn't know when he's going to get out, but he knows he's there. And he knows he's alive. He's alive. He started to understand celebrating life. And when he changed his mindset from why me to show me, he said it changed my pain into a place of purpose. I knew that every day I woke up with purpose. That's the difference, is when you find out, today I'm going to learn something. Today I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow in this moment. He chose to wake up every single day to learn. So he allowed that moment to have purpose. Today, I'm going to grow into a better man. I'm going to grow into a better citizen, a better American, a better godly person, whatever it is, I'm going to grow. And he chose to do that. It gave a new outlook and a new meaning every day. I want to challenge you. Maybe you'll say today, maybe you've been in a why me today, But today, this moment right now, just change your why me to a little simple thing. Show me. I don't understand. It doesn't act. You don't act like you know everything. You don't act like you understand everything. But you are open to seeing what you didn't see before. You're open to knowing what you didn't know before. I'd say that that's the first stage of coping, is realizing that if you go and show me, you realize I don't die here. Why me is what a person says when they're going down and no one's there to save them. Why me, right? But if you were going to get up, you're like, show me. I'm going to grab onto that. I'm going to pull onto this. I'm going to swim up to this. I'm going to float on this. I'm going to make it. So I need eyes to see how I'm going to make it. Show why me is I'm now going down, and why am I going down when that person should go down too? You're not going down. You're not going down, you're going up. It's time to go to your next level. So there's 4 aspects that I thought were really, really powerful that I want to pull from his story, and then I want to give you some other thoughts. The first thing I want you to get is this. He resolved to have faith and maintain faith in himself. Wow, that was powerful when he said that, because I thought that was amazing. If you can continue to share, this would be great to get more people online with us. But I'm glad that you're good to see Mike Leidy. Look at Mike there. Look at Mike. I love Mike. He's a great guy. I want you to know that it's important that we never lose faith in ourselves, no matter what. Because if you lose faith in yourself, then there is no way to get out of it. But if you keep faith in you and who you are, and what your calling is, or what your purpose is, and why you're here on the earth, that you're not an accident. When you understand that you're here for a reason, it changes everything. I grew up not knowing my father. I don't know my father. I don't know his name. I've had my stepfather. I know his name. I have my grandfather. I know him. But my actual biological father, I didn't know him. Do you know it was a challenge to go to school on the days where they had Father's Day, and I didn't, you're supposed to bring your dad to school, and I didn't have a dad to bring to school, and the realization, you go, why me? But you have to shift. You have to go, show me. What can I do? And when you have faith in yourself, and I know it sounds arrogant, but it's not. If you give up, then how is anybody going to come and help you? If he gave up, how is America going to come and help him? If he gives up, how is God going to come and redeem him? There's got to be a way that someone can come and rescue you. And if you fall apart, there is no way for rescuing to happen. There's no way for freedom to happen. So you have to believe in yourself. That's the first thing he realized. I have to stay in faith in me. I have to trust that there's a purpose for my life. There's a reason for me to be here. I'm not an accident. I'm not just a mistake. And even if you do think you were an accident, welcome to the world. Everybody, the majority of people in the world are accidents, right? We need to realize we are here, and there's a reason you're here. So when you realize there's a reason you're here, show me. Number 1, have faith in yourself. Don't lose that. Don't lose that. Number 2, and he kept his faith in other prisoners. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? He believed that as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, if I take care of what I'm supposed to do, my duties, my jobs, my responsibility, if I'm sharp at what I'm doing, if I take care of my body, take care of my mind, take care of myself. One of the things he said, I needed to work out every day. So he was doing push-ups every day. So he was believing in himself to do that. And they couldn't go out and run. So he would do 3 steps that way, 3 steps this way, 3 steps turn, 3 steps turn, 3 steps turn, 3 steps turn. That was he said, I walked miles, staying fit, staying ready, staying healthy. Every day he revolved in his mind. He took a day in his past, and he would think through that, go through that whole day and learn the lessons from that day. He believed in himself, but he expected the other prisoners to do the same thing, to take care of themselves, to take care of their bodies. Why? Because if you can't believe in other people, if you just love yourself and you don't love other people, it's very hard life to live. But you have to believe in other people. You have to believe that people in their core, even when someone is beating you, they are lacking in understanding. Someone is hurting you, they're lacking in understanding of what is going on in the world, and you have to believe in the prisoners, and he also has to believe in humanity. He believed that there was something still good. You have to keep the faith in some things. So in your coping, you may need to sit down and say, these are the 4 things I still believe in. Because what you're going to be challenged with is no longer believing in anything and anyone. And if you stop believing in yourself, you'll stop believing in everyone around you. You'll stop believing in your family. You'll stop believing in your children. You'll stop believing in your world around you. You'll stop believing. So you have to choose. I believe in myself. And number 2, I'm going to believe in those that are around me. Those that are around me, I believe that they're going to do the best to be the best that they are, and when they do that, it's going to work. Something good is going to come out of this. Number 3, he said, I needed to keep my faith in America. I had to keep my resolve in America. I could, even though I'm here, and they would tell us, he said, the propaganda from the Vietnamese was, oh, America has forgotten about you. And they would have all of this propaganda just saying horrible things. And they would just continue to hold their resolve in America. A new prisoner would come in. All of a sudden, the prisoner would tell them certain things through their... they had all this different communications, and they would find out that America is still believing in them. And so they would, I just got to believe in it. You got to believe in America. Why would you say that, Tracy? Why would you say why would you bring that as a coping mechanism? Well, you may not be in America, but let me tell you something. You are a part of a bigger something. And you need to believe in that bigger something. You need to believe in the bigger. If you're part of the church, you need to believe in the big church. If you're part of America, believe in the big America. If you're part of a corporation, believe in the bigness of that corporation. That everybody in the individual, you're going to do the best that you can do. They're going to do the best that they can do, and the company's going to do the best that it can do. And I know we see individuals making bad decisions based upon the bigness of something, bigness of your city, bigness of your state. They're making a bad decision, but in the mindset, they may be making the best decision that they have, because they're getting information and ideologies that are creating their thought process. But you have to believe. You have to believe and have faith that somehow whatever they're working on is going to work out for your good, even though they may be in whatever perspective. If you lose your faith, it doesn't matter what else is going on. If you lose your faith in you, your faith in someone else, and your faith in the bigger picture, the bigger purpose, then you lose everything. And the 4th thing he said, I needed to believe in God. I needed to believe that God had a purpose for me. And he qualifies. He says, I'm not saying that everybody has the same God as I have, but I needed to believe in God. And one of the things that he said, when I walked into the cell, the first day I got into the cell, he saw this equation on the cell of the door. I know it take a long time telling the story because it's quite an amazing story, because none of us really cope with this kind of things. But the ability to cope is found in the same mechanisms. It's in the same strategy. You find that you declare, first and foremost, not why me, but show me. The next is, I'm going to list out some laws for myself, some rules, some perspective, some focus. I'm going to have faith in this. List out 4 things that you're going to have faith in. Because I can list out 20, 30 things that I'm going to doubt in. But if I can list out 4 things, one dealing with me, the next dealing with the people around me, the third dealing with the corporation or the bigness that I work with, and then the third dealing with the bigness of the corporation, and the 4th dealing with the bigness of God, the bigness, outside of the universe, bigger than the universe, God, that means you are constantly growing in the bigness of your thinking when you go further out there. It's amazing when people go, I don't know why you even talk about God sometimes. You're a success coach, right? I know a lot of people that watch me, you don't believe in God. But the realization is, I do. I'm a minister. I'm an ordained minister. So periodically, I just have to tell you, I live in a world that's bigger than a universe. My thoughts are bigger there. My thoughts are bigger there. And it's fine. I'm not telling you that you have to do one way or another. If you came to my church, then it'd be a different thing. But right now, I want you to understand, you have to pick. I believe in myself. I believe in others that are with me, my alliances. I believe in them. I believe in the bigness of the corporation that I'm working with. Whether it's my nation or whether it's my business or but I believe that there's a revelation, a realization that I am here on the earth that's purposed by a higher power than me, and I'm going to live in that bigness. When you realize that, you realize the bigness of all of this, then it's funny because the further you go out in bigness, the smaller the thing that you're dealing with feels, right? That's the point. You go further out, this feels small. If you're dealing with something, all of a sudden it's like in your eyes it's so massive, it's so big, it's so big, it's so big, and then all of a sudden you go and you deal with you deal with 5 or 6 other people, and their circumstances are so much bigger than yours. Yours looks small. You don't even want to bring yours up. It was actually fine until you were in a bigger room. And so you have to understand that there's always going to be something bigger. And so you pick those 4 things. I want you to get this, because on that wall, the equation on the wall said this, and this is what helped him. Every day he reminded himself of this. Every day they did this. And you know what's really funny is based upon this, he said we would have church on Sunday mornings and we would knock the sermons. The sermons would be knocked on the wall or clicked or whatever it is. They'd have their whole like get together, and they'd have church services, all of these prisoners separate, but they would and they would say, God bless you, or whatever it is, because they're trying to keep themselves bigger, because otherwise they would want to do something to the people that have them captive. It's amazing if you stay bigger what you can believe in for even your enemy. And so I want you to see this, and this was the equation. God equals strength. That's his equation. That's Captain Jerry. God, that's the equation that he saw in the Vietnam prison. God equals strength. That's a pretty powerful statement. God equals strength. And I want to come back to that, if you will allow me, in a moment, to that God equals strength idea, because we have to be able to pull strength from bigger than us. If all of my strength comes from within me, then if I faint in a day that it's really challenging, we all have those days of challenges where it feels like I just want to give up, I want to quit. That shows me the level of my strength. It shows me the capacity of my strength. God equals strength. When you realize that there is an infusion of strength that wants to make its way to you, that wants to come to you, then you'll realize that there is more strength to be had. It's strength that wants to come to you. I want to tell you, I went on this journey of trying to understand coping, because this idea of emotional intelligence and all that we've been dealing with over the last few weeks, I've been just digging into it, just wanting to know, because I felt like there was, in this season, the physical terror that people are experiencing is one thing, but the emotional repercussions are completely unseen yet. But I could tell by the level of tension that people were carrying. When you carry a lot of physical tension, a lot of intimidation, a lot of fear, if you have your body is now trying to do something with the cortisol flush and trying to do something with your adrenaline flush that's going on, and you don't know what to do with it. If you're not working out on a daily basis, you're not eating properly, then your body's going to start to house that, and you're going to start to feel aches and pains physically, which is going to stress you out emotionally. You're now stressed out in so many different ways, physically, emotionally. Some people are experiencing hair that's lost, and different things that they're experiencing in their body, because you don't realize how much tension you're encountering when you're under attack, or you're under some kind of challenge. You have to understand that there's a coping that needs to happen. You need to know how to release, how to refuse things, how to not allow things to come into you. And what comes into you need to know that you have the coping mechanism, the coping ability to handle it, and you are going to know what to do with it. It's a part of the show me, not just why me. And if you are taking in too much information, too many things, everything's coming at you, you're going to go easily to why me instead of show me. And so you want to make sure that you're managing yourself. You want to manage yourself well. And so in this, I started to dig out the understanding of what coping was. Because I thought I knew. I mean, we all know. We hear the word, I don't know if I can cope with this. How are you coping? How are you doing? Right? That's what it kind of seems. How are you doing? Are you okay? So I wanted to get into what is coping anyway. And so I wrote this, and all this came from an article that I started writing, and I'm just about finished of it. I just wanted to do a little more research, but it came from this, and I wrote down what I thought coping was, or at least after a little bit of research, what I saw as my definition is coping. It's the ability to handle or to deal with. This is what I thought it was. I wrote this down. Ability to handle or to call up the inner strength and power in order to outlast a challenge and to avoid implosion. It's the ability to call up an inner strength and power to outlast challenges and to avoid implosion. So when he says that I have those 4 things, those are 4 things that are keeping him from imploding. They're calling up an inner strength that keeps him from giving up. I'm not going to give up on them. I'm not going to give up on me. I'm not going to give up on them. I'm not going to give up on my nation. And I'm not going to give up on my God. I'm not giving up. I'm having faith in. So when you're looking at just your 4 things, and this is not the completeness of, this is just, I'm spending a lot more time on talking about what I learned from him than anything else. But I have some things that I want to share with you still. But it's the ability to call up that inner strength, the ability to pull on something that you may not know that you have. You didn't know, but you're pulling in on something. So I thought, is that really what it is? And so I looked it up. That's what I thought. That's what my thought process. And so I looked it up, and I the definition is this: to deal effectively with something difficult. To deal effectively with something that's difficult. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, I thought that was great. I was happy with that. I didn't need to search any further. So then I'm looking up in Webster's dictionary. This is not the 1828, which the old one, Webster's, that I usually look up. This is just a regular Webster's dictionary. And I look down, and I always like to find out where the origin. What's the origin of the word? Where does this word come from? Is it Latin? Is it Greek? Where does it come from? And so it drills down, and there's several statements. But the oldest one that I found was from a Greek word. The Greek word that comes from is kalaphos. Kalaphos, which means this. And I want you to really get this. It means the root word of coping, which is kalaphos. It means to hit you in the face with a fist, or to a blow from the fist. So when it's like I'm clopping you, I'm going to clophos you, right? I'm going to clobber you. And when I saw that definition, I understood what coping was. You may think, why? It's because we talk about coping on the other end. It's the after effect. It's the after effect. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? That means something already hit me. But we don't ever talk about what hit me. We always talk about what's the response. And so coping really comes from the fact that you're going to get hit. And when you get hit, how do you respond to the hit? How do you do you fall when you get hit? Coping has nothing to do with not getting hit. Coping the word starts with a blow with the fist. So the fact is, if you're going to cope with something, it means you've been hit by something. And now you get to realize what kind of strength you have to handle that hit. I remember when I was many of you that connect with me on any social media or any personal level, or even read in my books, you'll know somewhere along the line I'm talking about my upbringing, because my upbringing is very important, and it's who I am today. It manifests why I'm interested in finding out how the thought process of humanity works, and all the things, what makes a champion, what makes a person not a champion, all those things. I grew up in a house of boxers and athletes and people who are just go-getters. All right, so let me just make sure. Are we doing okay? How are we doing? We're doing that. You clobbing your enemies. Good job, Fatima. I want you to know this, that so in this house of athletes, I'm like, okay, what made them Olympians? And my uncle, Davey Armstrong, was a 2-time Olympian medalist, and so I watched him fight. I watched him be in circumstances. We always had gloves, boxing gloves everywhere. And I remember one time we were having a gathering after church with my grandmother. We come back, and there was this, hey, let's get the boxing gloves and let's just start boxing. So 2 little guys, I'm out there with my boxing gloves on, big old boxing gloves, and the guy that I'm going to be boxing is much bigger than me. And I watch boxing. I've been in a lot of fights. I'm not bragging, but because of circumstances of where I lived, whether in Oakland or whether in Puyallup, Washington, I've lived in circumstances where it demanded that I needed to respond to things. And so I remember being in this situation. I watched my uncle's box. I watched people do this. Then all of a sudden, this guy was bigger than me. All of a sudden, he comes across, and he doesn't hit me here. He hits me right at my temple. Boom, and I drop to my knees, and I'm like, I've never been hit before. I realized that at that point, I didn't even know how to respond, because I never been hit before. And it hit me right there in my temple. Of course, that's like a place to just, it's going to drop you. That's why you have to protect your temple. So it's a realization. I got hit, and after I got hit, that's what the coping is. But it uses this word, coping, to be hit with a fist. That's an understanding, to be hit with a fist. So when you are feeling, I have to learn about coping, I have to learn about coping with things, I have to learn about dealing with things, what you're saying is, I've been hit. And when you realize you've been hit, then it's different. Then it's different than going, I just need to handle this difficulty. No, you've been hit. You've been hit. Something hit you. Now, you drop to your knees. You got sucker punched. You drop to your knees. You're on your knees. Do you stay down? Or do you jump back up and you put your hands back up? What do? Because that's what coping is going to ask you. You have to make two choices. Stay down or get up. Number one choice. Why me? Show me. Get off your knees. Stay on your knees. All right? So important you get that. So I remember later, I realized, man, that's the first time. I've been in a lot of fights. But I was more like James Brown fighter. It's like, I don't know karate, but I know crazy. So I would hit you so many times before you'd actually get a chance to hit me. And it was just too much. It was just too many. It was just, the response was just too radical, wicked. It was awful. But that was just because I think I looked, something wasn't right there. And then I come out going, oh, what's this? Right? So it just wasn't right. But when I finally got hit, clobbered, clopped, right? Clophus. When I got hit, then I realized my strength was weak in that area. Ooh, I need to make sure I protect that. My strength was weak in that area. When your strength faints in the day of adversity, when you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is weak in that area. So when this guy sees on the side of his wall, it says God is strength. He's now getting everything he needs to cope or to handle the hit that comes. Physical hit, emotional hit, spiritual hit, whatever the hit is, he knew he had to handle the hit. It's not avoiding the hit, it's knowing that the hit is coming. And when you get hit, anticipating that you're going to get hit. The problem with most people who don't cope with life is they never expect life to hit them. They expect always to hit. I expected constantly just to hit. I'm over 37 minutes into this thing, just constantly expecting to hit. And then all of a sudden one day someone hit me and it dropped me. And I was like, I don't want to do this again. It first made me not want to do it again. But then I realized I'm going to get hit again. Somewhere I'm going to get hit. Years later, I was 18 years old. I was downtown Seattle. I was going into a 7-Eleven. Guy comes walking up to me, goes, hey, you remember me from that party? And I'm just looking at him going, no. All of a sudden he goes, whoop, hits me. And I come back around and I just look at him. So I'm thinking, I've been hit before. I know how to take a punch now. Okay, so then it was really interesting, his response, because he actually expected me not to stand there and look at him. So if you've been hit, the most difficult thing to the person that hits you is that you get to look at them as if it was not even dazing you, not even phasing you. It wasn't even an issue. You thought you had me. But the realization, I've been hit before. I know how to cope with this. See, there it is. I know how to cope with this. If you've never been hit, you don't know how to cope with it. But if you've been hit, you know what it takes to hit. You know what it takes to receive a hit. Coping is more about what kind of hit you can take. What kind of hit can you take? Can you take the hit? What kind of hit? And if you can bounce back from the hit, now you're stronger. So there's going to be a hit. In life, there's always going to be a hit. How do you know that? Because I went to search this word out, and I'm searching it out in dictionaries. I'm searching it out on, Psychology Today, and I didn't even go there, but I'm searching out on psychology places, and I'm searching out. But I always have to, if it's a Greek word, if it's a Hebrew word, I always have to go to my training, which is the Bible. I went to the Bible and I said, where is this word Colophus? where do I find this word? And you know what this word is? It's hidden in a scripture that's most, I think, really misunderstood. And I'm just going to give it to you. If you're not a Christian, if you don't like the scriptures, then just hold on for a second, because I guarantee you're going to get something out of it. Because I couldn't find anything that would give the kind of definition that this gave, this kind of picture. So if you don't, I don't know, I don't like you talk about God. Well, I'm telling you principles that are going to help you, and it's associated to the greatest thinker there is. So just stay with me for a second. Here it goes. It says here, Paul was in a circumstance. Paul is one of the writers. He's one of the writers of the Bible and specific books of the Bible. And it was in a circumstance, and he said 3 times I have prayed to you, God, to help me with this thing that keeps hitting me. He uses the word buffets me, and that's that word klophos, which means 3 times I came to you, I was getting hit. He didn't say every time you just said nothing, but he's 3 times I was getting hit. I got hit 3 times, and you had this response: my grace is sufficient for you. My grace is sufficient for you. 1. Number 2, it says here that my strength is made perfect in weakness. I just didn't make that connection before, but I just think that equation on that wall and this equation that we find in the scriptures is just a very powerful understanding of how God wants to be in our lives. And I don't want to make this preachy. I don't want to, because I do preaching some other time, but I want to continue to bring this into an understanding of how you're going to win in life and business. I want you to understand how you're going to win in your marriage and your life. Is that you're going to take a hit sometimes, but in taking a hit, you have to know that strength is going to surge back into you to be able to handle the response, to be able to come back with a response. I didn't hit the guy in Seattle. I just stood there and I looked at him like, well, I don't know you. Can't believe you did that. That's just it. And he just went running off because he realized he wasn't just going to sucker punch me and knock me out. So he just went running, and that's fine. That was probably the best thing for him. I want you to know you need to know how to take a hit. If you can take one, then you can guarantee give one. And so this is the thing, is he says, I've asked you 3 times to take away this klophos. This is klophos. And it's not like God didn't answer his prayer. He said something to him, which I thought was really interesting. My grace is sufficient. That word grace is it's the extension that's beyond you, that part that's beyond you. I need to know where you end and where I begin. If you can't handle the next step, I have to step in. But if you can handle the step, I need to know how far you can go. How deep can you go? Are you at the end of your wits? You see this at work. They're like, I just tried it so many times. I tried it. I work with people in IT in our world, and I'm like, I tried it so many times, Mr. Vic. Can you actually come and help me? Can you come and help me? Because I'm like, I am at the end here. I can't cope with the rest of it, right? I got the hit. I took the hit, but I need to call on your strength. And he's my grace. He comes in and he works it out. He figures it out. And he expands me, and he takes me further than I could take myself. But I went to where I could go. I didn't just give up and go, oh, I don't know what to do. No, I went as far as I could go, and Mr. Vic comes and helps me with the rest of it, right? That's the coping. That's that ability to, now I've been coped, I've been clobbered, I've been hit. Now the process that happens after that is the coping. Is this making sense? Am I losing people on this long definition? I want you to know that this is where the coping, how long you can go and extend yourself beyond the moment you feel like breaking apart, falling apart, staying on your knees. Allow that strength to extend. I like this part. Gosh, I want to get past this. I'm going to probably have to do a whole Christian one on this. But I like this part. I just want to say this. God, he says, my grace is sufficient for you. The word sufficient it means to lift you up above it, to take you above it, to take you in a place that's beyond this circumstance. Then he says this, that my power is going to rest upon you. And I don't have time to go into all that, but I want you to see this. The idea of this is after the fact. After you've been hit, what's happening? What's happening with you after you get hit? What happens to you after you lost your job? Are you gonna crumble? Are are we going for chocolate chip cookies, ice cream? What's the plan? Or are we gonna sit down and write the business plan that you've always wanted to write and you just never did it? You just found an excuse, one excuse after another excuse of why you couldn't do it, just because I don't have the time. But now you do have the time because you don't have the things that were in your way before, and you literally have nothing to lose. I told someone today with some of the things that we're going to step into in this next few weeks, next few months, and they were like, well, I guess it's, I said, well, we might as well do it now. He says, I guess it is the time to do things that no one's ever done before. You never always, yeah, that's the way you cope with it. You come back doing something that you really didn't anticipate you had to do, but I'm going to actually put some things in place. And so this is the choice. You have to react. My reaction would be run. My reaction would be fall on the ground. My reaction would be, or my response would be, I've been hit before. I know how to handle this. Sometimes you can't come to that intentional response until you've been hit before. I was hit before. My first reaction was to fall on the ground. I've been hit by financial problems. I remember one year, Christmas, we've been busy, and I'm looking at my calendar. My calendar is completely empty for the, this is when I was traveling as a traveling speaker, completely empty. I'm going into Christmas. Our income has come, still being hesitated because people send in things later. Looking at Christmas, I'm thinking, what do? I had to come up with some new things. First thing I had to do is I didn't have any resources. So I went and sat down and started making resources because I was just going from one speaking engagement to another speaking engagement without resources. I was hit with finances, but what was my response? My response is, let's make resources so that people can continue to have the encouragement built up, strength when I'm not there, and they can have content from other subjects that I'm teaching on. If they like that, then they'll like this as well. Let's give them some resources, continue to build them. It helps me, it helps them, reciprocal relationship. I learned something. If I hadn't been hit, I wouldn't have learned anything. So you are hit. You've been hit. Maybe you're not hit now, maybe you're fine. But the realization, you have been hit. What did you learn? How are you going to cope with it? What's going to be the extension from that point on, moving forward? So you have a reaction and you have a response. I'm going to give you permission. If the first time you've been hit, you may have a reaction, but don't stay there. Don't stay there long. You can have a minute or two of why me. A minute or two. But don't live in why me. Because why me doesn't give you the answers that you really want. Why me is going to give you some really, really bad answers. Because you and I, we all have things that we would tell ourselves if we were talking to ourselves about how we really feel about us. You don't want that why me. You don't want that why me, because there's voices that are going to come, things that are going to come, circumstances are going to come and kind of identify something about you that you don't want. But if you say, show me, then it takes you into that ability to be teachable, to learn, to discover. And then once you discover something, then you're now a person who responds. If you think about this idea, I asked you 3 times to take this away from me, and all you say is, the grace is sufficient. It brings me to this understanding of my uncle again. I would go down to the club and they're working out. I'd see him on, doing crunches. He's doing crunches. They're doing crunches. And if someone has this huge medicine ball, and they're just dropping this medicine ball on his stomach. Boom, between every crunch. Boom. In between every crunch. Boom, just dropping. I remember thinking, my goodness. And I thought, I'm going to go pick up that medicine ball. I was little. I picked up that medicine ball. It was so heavy. And I thought, how in the world could you? Because they needed to simulate the idea of a person with lots of power hitting them in the stomach and them being able to contract and be able to build enough muscle around their midsection so that when that blow comes, they can shake that blow off and release the blow that they need to take in. I want you to know sometimes you don't get delivered and you don't get rescued from what you want to be rescued right away because you need to know how to take a blow. That's so intense. You need a sparring partner. You need someone to get in the rink with you. I remember watching them. They're slugging. They have pads on. It's a practice ring. And I want you to understand, but there is a time where you need to take 3 punches in order to really know how to handle it when you get into the real fight. Can you imagine if my uncle didn't do those crunches with that medicine ball and all? I mean, I watched some of the fighters. I mean, some of the people that he got in the rink with. I mean, if he didn't have that, him taking a blow, he had never been hit there before, never been hit like that before, he would crumble. The fact is some of the things that you are not saved from is because you're in a sparring position, you're in a training situation to prepare you for the opportunity of a lifetime. And when you get in the opportunity of a lifetime, you'll be able to take blows. You know, one of the things that I'm going to just really say that I admire about President Trump. There's a lot of things that people don't like about him, a lot of things that I'll never tell you what I like and what I don't like, I'll never tell you what I don't like, I'll tell you what I like. But I think this is a pretty amazing. When you see him, whether it's this trial or that problem or this problem or that nation or this circumstance, it looks like he knows how to take blows. You know why? Because I believe people who are entrepreneurs, they are used to exchanging blow for blow. And if you want to have a business, you want to be successful, you want to be an achiever, and you can't take a blow, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to be someone who wants to go and do something big, and you can't take one to your jaw, and you can't take one to your midsection, you can't take one to your financial picture. Listen, I have lost money and I've gained money. I mean, man, the last time I lost money, it almost knocked the wind out of me. There's times when I literally, me talking to you as a business leader, I told myself I didn't want to do that anymore. I told myself I didn't want to do it. Listen, I have to come back. This is my coping. I'm here with you on Tuesday nights. Every Tuesday here at 7 p.m. I might change the time, but we'll see. I'm here every Tuesday and I'm working with you because I'm telling you, I took a blow. I've been hit. I've been cheated. I've been talked about. I've been maligned. I'm telling you, it's been a horrible, but the realization, I have faith in me. I have faith in those that are around me. I have faith in the cause that I'm working for, and I have faith in the God that has called me. And we're going to continue to do, we're going to throw blow by blow. And if I can look at a president that goes, none of it phases me. I know you don't like him, but the realization, this nation is going to get its finances back. I even think before the end, before the elections. That's my perspective, because I think there's people smart like you that are saying, I've been hit, but I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to respond instead of react. I'm not going to quit. Let me give you a couple of things that you have to have in mind. I'm going to give you a couple of things that you need to have in mind. Thanks, guys, for staying in. Continue to share. Post it on your page. Post it with your friends. Tell everybody. Continue to invite people to come and join us. I'm telling you, I am really enjoying this myself. I want you to ask this. I want you to realize that when you're dealing with circumstances and you have to choose, you have two things you have to ask yourself. The other stuff is great, but you have to first ask yourself these two things when you're going to start. After you get hit, after you get punched, you have to ask yourself these two questions. Number one, is this problem-based or is this emotion-based? Problem-based mean, is it something that I can physically get involved with right now? I can call someone, I can change, because it's right now, it's a problem. It's circumstances that I can fix. I can call a lawyer, or I can call a police officer, or I can call, is there something that I can do physically? Is it problem-based? Or is this emotional-based? Emotion-based will determine how I handle me, right? The problem-based is handling me as well, but it's not something that I need to chill for a little bit. Problem-based means I've got to get action right now. I've got to make some phone calls, got to Google search, I got to do whatever I got to do. I've got to actually start working on fixing this. But emotional-based means I got to work on me first. I got to work on me. Is this me? Am I just tripping? Am I tripping may not be a very, very diplomatic word for such business like you, but you know that there's sometimes you're tripping. We heard about articles, people just tripping nowadays in business, in politics. So we need to understand that there is a time where you have to realize, do I need to handle me? And one of the questions that I think you should have in your space is, do I need to change my situation, or do I need to find a way to better handle do I need a better coping mechanism after this? I've been hit. Now, how do I grow in this? How do I achieve in this? And so when you have that, it begins to change your emotion. So emotional focus. So when you're dealing with something, you've been hit, you're staggering, write it down. Write these things down. One, write down emotional base. Number two, physical, problem base. Is this emotional? Do I need to handle this? Do I need to actually have my coping skills? Which I find, if we were to go back, if I was actually in my minister hat, I would say go back and you'll find grace is sufficient is an emotional based thing. And if you were to go back and find strength is made perfect and weakness is a problem based thing. And so you would be able to physically get into the problem and you would find strength to handle it, to move forward, to build on it and be strong. I want you to understand. Let me give you some practicals before I sign off because again, I've been talking for almost an hour, guys. And so I'm going to give you a couple of things that are just real practical, like, and I would say in both of these, we need to make sure that we're taking care of us. We're taking care of our bodies. And so emotional based responses, things that are emotional focused, coping skills. I work out every day. And I don't know why I started to work out. It was an impression that I had to work out every day, and I work out every day except for Sundays. I don't work out on Sundays. It's one day I don't work out, but I work out every day. If I'm flying, no matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna get every day except for Sundays. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get somewhere and I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna do something, anything I can. I'm gonna do that. There's other ways that are, if it's emotional, you can pamper yourself. You can get a mani pedi, you can get take a bath, you can do something that just will calm your nerves, cool you down, relax you, and that's going to be healthy. There's not anything that can lead you into an addiction or to any bad. That's not a good coping skill for emotions if you have to go and add a product to you, like if you have to add alcohol or smoking or drugs or anything. That's not a good coping skill because that becomes now not a coping mechanism. That now becomes a habit, and so that can lead you into a whole nother being punched in the face. So you don't want to do anything that leads you into a dependency on a product or something. You want to do something that is going to help you process, and it's something that is still just going to call you're just going to call the best you out. And so if you feel good about yourself, you're working out, you feel good about yourself. If you take a nice hot bath, Cal, go on and take me away, take a nice hot bath, that helps you. You feel better about yourself. And then, you may have to do what we talk about often is affirmations. Write out affirmations. Write out the best you affirmation, my best me, and then talk it out in your first person. I, Tracy Armstrong, I'm amazing at this. I'm awesome. I'm in believe in yourself kind of stuff, right? That's what that first aspect is. Write out and talk to yourself good. Don't talk to yourself negatively. Don't talk to yourself as if you're some enemy. If you talk to yourself that way, you don't believe in yourself. So you need to talk to you in a way that you can rise and speak to yourself. And then prayer and meditation is extremely important in making sure that you are a solid person who can cope. Prayer and meditation, meditate, think, meditate. Now, meditation can go wrong if you don't know how to do it, in the sense that some people go into meditation and they just start thinking about negativity, or some people go into meditation and they try to lose themselves. I say meditation looks like this. I'm going to write down all of my goals. I'm going to write down vision. I'm going to write down what I want my marriage to look like. I'm going to write down what I want all that stuff. Well, I'm going to write down what I want my job to look like, what I want my future to look like, or my business. I'm going to write those things down. And my meditation is revolving that in my mind. Not trying to get empty. I'm not trying to empty my mind. I'm going to revolve in my mind the dreams, the hopes, the aspirations. I'm going to have that revolving in my mind. I'm going to keep thinking about it. And the best way to do it is to meditate with a vocal response, communicating out of your mouth, speaking about, well, this next year I'm going to have this, and next year I'm going to do this, and this is what this is what I'm doing. Or you can actually, I like better going into the place 2017 or whatever it is, I am doing this, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm wearing, this is what I'm walking, and spend some time meditating. I have that more meditation in one of my books. I don't know if you probably find it on Amazon. I think I have to reprint it. I think it's all out of print. It's called Becoming a Pioneer of Success. I may do a couple of those here. I think you can actually get it on Kindle, Becoming a Pioneer of Success, if you go to Amazon. Then that's all emotion-focused stuff. And then just 4 more things, if I can give you 4 more things, just problem-focused, coping mechanism skills, and automations. And the reason I say automations is because there's the response and the reactions. Once you learn it, it comes back. It's automatic. It's automatic. It's like learning a martial arts. It's like learning a skill. It's automatic. That's what you want to do. You want to keep revolving it, keep working on your heart and your mind until it's an automatic response to whenever something arises. Something tries to hit you in the face. You have an automatic response. I think bobbing and weaving and hitting, the bobbing and weaving comes because you've been around, you've worked that so much, you can actually move out of the way of something and it doesn't have the ability to land the kind of effective blow that it wanted. That's because you've already been there before, you've walked through this before, you've already have some things where you're like, I know what that is, I'm not going over there. That's a coping skill. Avoiding something that you can see what it would look like, you can see where it wants to take you, that's a great coping skill, and you've learned from the past where you would previously react and go into it. Now you've responded and you know how to avoid it. You see what it looks like, you see the setup of it, and so you can completely go away from it. That is an absolute healthy, and I know that a healthy coping skill, and I know that many of you have that. Problem focused is this. You're going to have to work on managing your time. Get your Berry Buster app. I have a new Berry Buster update coming up. They're sending me the new Berry Buster update today. I'm working diligently on it because I'm not really happy with it all the time. So I'm just going to continue to do it. I'm not going to completely unleash it. So if you are testing it for me, please let me know what's going on. So, but we're adding some new stuff to it. It's really fun. So, but if you don't use the Berry Buster for your time management, manage your time somehow. Whatever you have to do, make a checklist. But you have to manage your time. You have to do well, work on managing your time. And if you know my thoughts on managing time, it's not about managing time, it's about managing you in the amount of time that you have. So manage you and handle the time. Be more impactful in that amount of time, and then you will be effective. I have some time management stuff on my YouTube. I'm going to keep sending you places because I'm not going to keep talking about all this stuff all over again, over and over and over. All right, so here we go. And then ask for people to help you. Don't be a lone ranger here. If you need help, get the help up. Get the assistance. That's why you believe in them. You believe in the people around you. Get that assistance. Draw them in. I need some help. I need some help. I need to talk. I need to, and be okay with people helping you. Part of the problems with the coping is if we want to just do it ourselves. I mean, I know so many people that I can help right now, but literally they won't let me help them. They won't let me help them because when I say I want to help them, they're like, I want to get this right, I'm like, gosh, I can help you get all that right. I don't need you to come to me perfect. I need you to come to me because I know how to help you get to the place where you want to go. And if you ask me, I'll help you. But I have so many people that are like, no, you're so busy. I'm like, okay, I'm busy with people who are asking me. That's just saying, right? All right, we're going to establish healthy boundaries. If you have people that are pulling you out of your coping responses, your coping mechanism, the automations, and they're constantly interrupting, you may actually need to just halt that relationship for a little bit or put that relationship in a boundary that doesn't affect you all the time or doesn't affect you. So you want to make sure that you're handling your boundaries. I don't have a lot of stuff. My wife has stuff on boundaries. Of course, the boundary books are really good. So you want to just make sure that you are handling your boundaries, putting people in the right place. I know that sounds wrong, but putting people in the right place. I have people that I can handle this much, and then outside of that much, then you know what I'm saying. All right, and then create lists. I'm not much of a list person when it comes to leading people, but I create a list every day for myself. I have a list, but if I'm leading people, I'm not that much of a list person. I want to impart. I want to help people think. So, but for me, I have a list. If I'm doing stuff for my problem solving, I'm creating a list. And again, don't want to push you in the Berry Buster because I know it's not an easy app to use because you have to really want to change. It's not a game app. It's a productivity app. So if you don't want to change, don't download it. Just get a piece of pen and piece of paper and just write. But if you want to change, if you really want effective change, then it will help you. It helps you break down not only what your list is, but it helps you break down the priorities of it. If you don't need to get it done today, it helps you put it in tomorrow and the next day, and helps you process it out over a period of time. If it doesn't need to be your focus today, then don't worry about it today. Move on to what you need today, and then let tomorrow handle itself. And so we have those things available to you. And so I want you to know that the coping is you're gonna keep your heart and you're gonna keep your mind. You're gonna guard your heart. You're gonna guard your mind. And I wanted to really get you to understand that you are trying to figure out what happened. Well, you're coping. Coping means to get hit with the fist. Cope. Kalafas. You've been hit. I can't take that from you. You can't take that from you. You feel it. What do I do? You rub it off, and you get back to battling. Get back to fighting. All right, so we have some things that are coming up here. Let me see how we doing. We have some things that are coming up. So glad that you guys are staying in, staying tuned. Continue to share. Next week, we'll be back here. In a couple weeks, we're going to have Joel Luce. I believe I still have him. I'm going to make sure to confirm with him. He did confirm. But we'll have Joel Luce. And we're going to be talking about how to shift your business in challenging times, and how to get your business from one place to another, and then how do you deal with that as a business person. He bought a business right before the maturity of the printing business started. He bought a big printing business, $50 million business, and here we go. The maturity of the business started, and the printing businesses started to go out. What did he do? He had to reframe his thinking, he had to reshape, and he has created a successful business that acquires businesses, as well as is starting and launching a new business. April was supposed to be launching, but he felt sensitive that he needed to put it off until September, which was a smart idea, right? Smart idea. He felt that, and we were talking about in December, I think. December, he's like, I'm going to put it off. And so he put it off, and he decided, maybe it was before any of the stuff that was happening in the news has come out, and he felt that prompting. I'm going to ask him about that as well. Why did you feel the prompting to put it off? I know that there were some excellent things, but he really felt the shift in him to put it off. And so we're going to talk about that, how to be sensitive to what's happening in your environment and being able to move things in its right direction. So he's now launching a new company. And it's already launched, but the grand opening is going to happen in September. He's got a successful company. He's got other things that are going on. So get ready. We're going to have fun time with Joe Luce. And I actually was in communication with Rabbi Lappin again. I have some questions I want to ask him. So we're going to bring Rabbi Lappin back on. I have another gentleman. His name is Callie. We work together on developing platforms, software platforms, different things of that sort. And so we're working on a new platform, but it's going to be really fun. I want to do an interview with him on how to take your business online, how to do some practical things in taking your business and taking your life online, and how to do that. So we're going to actually do some real practical stuff with him on a Tuesday night. So you don't get to hear me every week, but I'm going to have some friends and some folks coming on, and then who knows what's going to happen next. But we're going to keep on going. If you're enjoying this, continue to tell people about it. And again, resources, TracyArmstrong.com. All of my resources are on my Facebook page, but thank you for joining in. Hopefully this has been a blessing, encouraging to you, and you've learned something. You've been hit in the face, but you can get up and let's go again. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks.